I've been in what I can only describe as a genuinely healthy and fulfilling relationship for the past 2 months, though I've known this remarkable woman for 5 months now, and from the very beginning, something about her felt different. She's incredibly sweet, with a warmth that makes everyone around her feel at ease. She's tall, which complements my own height perfectly. I feel like I've already found what I was looking for, and the idea of walking away from that because of some uncertain future that might or might not unfold exactly as I fear feels like I'd be betraying not just her but also myself and everything we've built together. But I also can't shake the feeling that I need to be honest with myself about what I can and can't handle, about what I'm willing to accept and what might be a deal breaker, because we both want children. We've talked about it openly and we're on the same page about wanting to be parents someday. And if I'm going to commit to her, to a future with her, I need to be able to accept the full picture, the whole reality of what that future might look like, including the possibility that our children might have autism or joint issues or both. I've tried to rationalize my way through this by telling myself that even if there's a 50% chance of passing on the joint condition, that still leaves a 50% chance that our kids could be completely fine, and the increased autism risk is still relatively small in absolute terms. And there are so many other factors that go into a child's health and happiness and success that it seems almost absurd to focus so narrowly on these particular risks. But the problem is that rationalization only works temporarily, and the fear keeps creeping back, especially late at night when I'm lying in bed thinking about the future, about whether I'm being naive or selfish or both, about whether I'm setting myself up for a lifetime of watching my children struggle with things I never had to struggle with, about whether I'm being fair to her by having these doubts and not being completely transparent about them. I know that there's nothing she can do about any of this. She didn't choose her genetics, she didn't ask for any of these conditions to be part of her family history, and it's not fair to her for me to be weighing her like this against some hypothetical ideal of genetic health. She's a whole person with a rich inner life and a beautiful soul, and reducing her to a collection of genetic risks feels like I'm doing something wrong, like I'm betraying the very love and respect that I claim to feel for her. And yet, I can't seem to let go of these thoughts. They've become like a splinter in my mind that I can't remove no matter how much I try, and I find myself obsessively Googling statistics and probabilities and personal stories, trying to find some kind of definitive answer or guarantee that I know doesn't exist because that's not how genetics or life or love work. I know that if I bring this up with her, I risk hurting her deeply, risk making her feel like she's not good enough or that I'm judging her for things she's already spent her life overcoming, risk damaging the trust and vulnerability that we've built together, risk making her feel like I'm looking for a way out when really I'm just looking for a way to make peace with my own fears. I don't want to lose her, I genuinely don't, and the thought of ending things over this makes me feel sick to my stomach because I know how rare and precious real connection is, how hard it is to find someone who truly gets you and loves you for who you are, how much I'd regret it if I let her go and spent the rest of my life wondering what if. But I also don't want to stay and then resent her or our future children if things don't turn out the way I hope, and I don't want to be the kind of person who can't fully accept his partner exactly as she is, with all her strengths and vulnerabilities and everything in between. I've been thinking about talking to a therapist or a genetic counselor to help me work through these feelings, but I haven't taken that step yet, partly because I'm scared of what I might learn and partly because I keep hoping that these concerns will just fade away on their own if I give it enough time. I've been avoiding bringing up the topic of future children with her lately because I'm afraid of where the conversation might lead, and I can tell that she's starting to notice that something is off, that I've been more distant or preoccupied, and I know that I'm going to have to address this eventually because I can't keep going like this, pretending everything is fine when my mind is churning with anxiety every time I think about our future. I think what I'm really looking for here is perspective, someone who's been through something similar, someone who can tell me whether I'm being completely unreasonable and overly anxious, or whether these are legitimate concerns that I need to take seriously before making a lifelong commitment. I'm not looking for someone to make the decision for me because ultimately I know that this is something I have to figure out on my own, but I would absolutely welcome a third person's opinion, someone who can see the situation more objectively than I can, someone who isn't as emotionally invested as I am and can tell me whether I'm blowing things out of proportion or whether I have valid reasons to be concerned. Maybe someone who understands genetics or psychology or relationships better than I do, or maybe just someone who's been in a similar position and can share how they navigated it, whether they stayed or left and how they made peace with their decision either way. I keep going back and forth in my own mind. One minute I'm convinced that I'm being ridiculous and that I should just focus on the amazing relationship I have and cross whatever bridges we come to when we get to them, and the next minute I'm convinced that I'm being irresponsible by ignoring potential red flags and that I owe it to my future children to think carefully about what I'm bringing them into. I wonder if I'm maybe just looking for an excuse to self-sabotage because part of me is scared of how serious this relationship is becoming, scared of the vulnerability that comes with truly committing to someone, scared of the possibility of getting hurt if things don't work out, and I'm latching onto these genetic concerns as a way to create distance and protect myself without having to confront those deeper fears. But that feels like overthinking too, like I'm analyzing my own motivations so much that I'm losing touch with what's real and what's just anxiety, and I don't know how to tell the difference anymore. I know that no relationship is perfect and no future is guaranteed, and if I'm going to be in a committed partnership, I need to accept that there will always be unknowns and uncertainties and things that I can't control or predict, and maybe this is just one of those things I need to learn to accept. I love her, I really do, and I want to be with her, and I want to have a family with her, and I think that if I could just get out of my own head and stop obsessing over statistics and probabilities, I'd see that what we have is too rare and too precious to throw away over fears that might never materialize. But I also need to be fair to her, and to myself, and to any future children we might have, and I need to make sure that I'm going into this with my eyes wide open and my heart fully committed, not with secret doubts and hidden reservations that will fester and grow over time. I've been thinking about writing down all my concerns and fears in a letter to myself, just to get them out of my head and see them on paper, and maybe that will help me sort through which ones are legitimate and which ones are just anxiety talking, and then I can decide whether and how to talk to her about them. She deserves to know what I'm thinking and feeling, even if it's hard and even if it might hurt her, because our relationship is built on honesty and openness, and if I'm going to spend my life with her, I need to be able to tell her the hard things too, not just the easy ones. I've also been wondering whether I should talk to her sisters or her parents to get a better sense of the family medical history. But that feels invasive and like I'm going behind her back, and it would probably upset her if she found out, so I've ruled that out as an option. I think I need to find a way to bring this up with her in a way that's compassionate and honest, that makes it clear that I'm not rejecting her or blaming her, but that I'm trying to process my own fears and uncertainties, and that I want her help in doing that I want to face these concerns together as a team rather than letting them drive us apart. I know that she's strong and resilient and that she's been through so much already, and I think she would probably handle this conversation better than I'm giving her credit for, especially if I frame it as my own anxiety that I'm struggling with rather than a criticism of her or her family. I need to remember that she fell in love with me for who I am, and I fell in love with her for who she is, and none of that has changed, and all the genetic possibilities in the world don't change the fact that we have something real and beautiful and worth fighting for. But I'm still scared, and I still need help working through this, and I'm hoping that someone out there has some wisdom or perspective or just a kind word that can help me find my way through this difficult moment. Maybe I need to accept that there are no easy answers or guarantees in life or love, and that the only way forward is to embrace the uncertainty and trust that we'll figure things out together as they come. Maybe I need to focus on the present and stop trying to predict and control a future that hasn't happened yet. Maybe I need to have a little more faith in myself, in her, and in us. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know I can't keep carrying this weight alone, and I'm grateful for any guidance or insight that anyone can offer, whether it's hard truths or gentle reassurances, because right now I feel like I'm walking through fog and I just need someone to help me find my bearings so I can figure out which direction to go.